What it do, beloved? It's your boy. This is back at it. You already know. I believe we ended on 41. But I'm going to run it back. I'm going to run it back on 41 again. Chapter 12, Book of Matthew. The men of Nineveh shall rise in judgment against this generation and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonas. And behold, a greater than Jonas is here. The queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it. For she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, a greater than Solomon is here. Bars. True bars. I just really wanted to go over this. Just wanted to go over this a little bit more. Because, I don't know, this hits for me, right? This hits for me. Basically using the examples of some of the worst, right? Some of the most worldly, right? The people, the men of Nineveh killing each other, raping their neighbors, destroying, being nothing but filth on the earth, right? Being a scourge to everyone on the earth, right? Being known as one of the worst, if not the worst, right? Of all time, or of that era, right? And saying that they will judge the generation of that Jesus is in. And maybe the generation is all of the people after Jesus, right? Maybe that's what that generation means, right? Because there's the first generation of the people before Christ, right? And then there's the second generation of the people after Christ, right? I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking, right? So some of the worst people of the first generation will judge the people of the second generation, because at least they heard the word, right? At least they responded to the message that God gave, right? And it was just words. It was just a random guy, right? It wasn't even Christ. It was just a random, right? At least they heard and respected what God said through a random, right? Even the queen of the south, the Bathsheba, I believe, or something like that. I forget, honestly, but it is signifying, right? A worldly person, the whore of Babylon, right? The culmination of sin, right, on earth, right, is signified by the queen of the south, right? Because when you think of the south, what do you think? Think of Florida, right? You think of the diabolical stuff that happens in warm weather when people can always go outside, and when the I don't even know what to say, the proclivities of human nature are not tamed or held back by winter, right? That is what the South represents. And the queen of the South would be the chief of all of those proclivities, right? The leader of those proclivities, right? So even she came from out of the depths of the South, right? To hear the wisdom of Solomon, right? She said, maybe we're wrong. Let me hear someone that is respected for his wisdom. Let me ask him, talk to him. Let me see where I'm going wrong, right? At least they might have not known the difference between we're right or wrong when they were doing wrong. But when they heard that there was a difference, when they heard that there was a different way, right? When they heard a challenge, maybe is what you could say, they responded. And they responded in a way that was amicable, right? That basically saved him, right? Just interesting, right? That the worst of the worst can still be saved, but it's based on your willingness and your humility to accept that salvation, right? And it's just funny because the people that consider themselves the most holy of their generation can't even hold a stone or a stick, right, to the most perverse of the previous generation, which is kind of a common theme, right? Kind of a common theme throughout all of history, right? It just gets worse for the most part. So I thought that was, I don't know, I think that's an interesting little passage, right? I think that was something that I just kind of wanted to think about for a little while, right? Moving on though. 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. Ooh, bro. Dang, I should have just ended on the last one, because this one is it's full. These 2 verses, very full. And there's a lot to talk about and a lot that I don't understand. But hey, I'm going to do my best. So verse 43, all right? When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, what does this mean? All right? In my head, taking in context with the rest of the segment, right? I'm thinking if he's out, right? Maybe he just got done getting lit, getting crunk, as the kids might say, right? Going dummy on it, possibly. He just got done doing such things, right? The unclean spirit is gone out of a man. He has fulfilled his worldly lusts and desires. He's gluttoned on, just worldly satisfaction, right? To the point of contentment, to the point of fill, to the point of him coming back to himself and thinking and realizing and looking around, right? And he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Hungover, right? Tired. I don't know. I don't know how many people have been there, right? Just completely zapped and zonked from a night of absolute degeneracy, right? I'm just going balls to the walls off these substances and, all that, right? I definitely have, right? That's the only reason I'm thinking like this, right? But coming back, looking for a place to rest, looking for a place to sit, there is no place, right? Because the party's done, right? There's no place to rest anymore. There's no place to sit and chill, right? It was only a place to give into degeneracy. It wasn't actually a place to rest. It was more of a trap, right? With the image of rest, right? But really, it's just another setting for that degeneracy to find you, that worldly desire, that worldly essence to fill you, right? And he doesn't find any place to rest because there's no more of that to be given, to be filled with, right? So those places don't exist anymore, right? 44, then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. So you go back to your spot, right? You go back to the camp, right? You go back middle of the day, right? Middle of the morning, right? Sun's up. Going back to the camp finally. Surely a place I can rest, right? Surely a place I can chill, right? And when he's come, he findeth it empty and swept and garnished, put together, right? It's all solid, right? You left it tidy so that you could come back and just chill, right? Relax after a long night of doing whatever, right? And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. So then you yell out to your neighbors, right? You get home, you're chilling, like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I can just chill out. So you call your neighbors over. Call your neighbors over to chill, bro. You call the people that you met out that night. But you're like, yo, pull up to the crib, pull up to the spot, pull up back at my tent, right? After party back at my place, right? Because you ain't got nothing to occupy you, right? You ain't got nothing healthy to take your time, right? No Bible, maybe. No time set aside for prayer, right? It's not even really on your mind, more than likely. Just to continue that fulfillment that you get, to fill that unclean spirit, right? Just more uncleanliness. You surround yourself with more uncleanliness to fill that satisfaction of the unclean spirit, right? Because when that unclean spirit isn't getting filled, you feel empty, right? And that fulfillment doesn't last that long. It lasts about as long as it takes for you to get back to the spot, right? Lasts about as long as that walk back to the camp, right? And then it's like, dang, bro, gotta keep it going, right? So you call 7 other spirits more wicked than yourself, because what is, obviously, bro, you can't be the smartest one in the room. Being the smartest one in the room sucks, because you ain't getting any stimulation. You ain't getting any knowledge. You ain't getting anything new. No dopamine hits, right? Right? Funniest one in the room sucks kind of too, because, hey, bro, it's uncomfortable laughing at someone else's jokes that ain't that good, right? I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing there, but being the most wicked one in the room also sucks, because you feel wicked, right? You know that you're doing the worst, right? You know that you're doing the baddest, right? Whereas if you got someone else that's more wicked than you just going with the flow, you just going with the gang, you know? It ain't nothing, bruh. It ain't me, bruh. I'm just chilling, bruh. I'm just rolling with the squad, you know? So, you obviously got to get 7 more spirits wickeder than you, right? Doing bigger bumps, doing bigger lines, doing more, right? Because it gives you something to be like, no, I'm not that bad. And I got a lot more I could do, right? And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. So that constant cycle, right? Because then, you go out again to go fill that unclean spirit with the 7 other spirits that are more wicked than you, so they make you even more of an unclean spirit, right? And then the cycle repeats. Then those spirits disperse, leaving you with yours, just to do it all over again, right? And you consistently get worse and worse, right? Consistently get more and more, right? Pretty simple, I guess. It's nice to be able to talk stuff out, I guess, honestly. But this is an analogy, right, for generations, right? For our fathers, to us, to our children, right? And I mean, it's kind of up to you to make sure this doesn't happen to the next generation. Right? It's kind of up to you to instill the values, to teach them that there is this cycle, right? Because I know I got caught up in this cycle, right? I heard from my father his stories, and I was like, oh wow. When I was out in it, doing all I could, it's like, oh, I got so much more to go, right? I could be doing a lot worse. And guess what, bro? I ended up doing a lot worse, honestly. But I've been working on doing better, right? So it's up to you to make sure that the cycle that has been very apparently happening in our culture, in our country, right? It's up to you to make sure that does not continue, right? Yeah, bars, solid segments. Appreciate y'all sticking around, listening to me ramble, because it was pretty helpful, pretty interesting stuff, something to think about. So I appreciate that. I just appreciate you. Love you. I ask the Father to bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.